I've just recently made this big transition to being an audio engineer technician. So why I made that transition was I thought, I'm not happy, what's going on? It must be because of this job that I don't feel fulfilled. I'm gonna do something crazy. I wanna be a rock star and I wanna do audio. So I made this big transition, and the school was an amazing experience. I met so many interesting characters. Every day, almost every day was just such a joy to be kind of immersed in this learning environment, which I love. And after school, these old feelings kept creeping back in, like, what's going on? I'm not happy again. I know this feeling. It's from 3 years ago. It's like it was laying dormant while I was enjoying my time in school. It was sort of maybe a vacation from real life. But now that I'm back in real life, it's like these old familiar friends come popping back up and saying hello. And I'm like, what is this? I made this big transition. I should be happy now. And something that I knew, but maybe I wasn't brave enough to face it head on, was that it was never my job. It was never my stature in the world. That's not why I was unhappy. It was because I didn't have close, intimate relationships. It was so lacking and non-existent that I didn't even think to identify that as maybe that's the problem. I need to really do some deep inner work in this social aspect, making personal connections. And of course, I want a loving life partner. You know, that's of course one of my big desires in life. I felt so lost and directionless that I was on the internet. I was just searching. It's funny, I do podcast work. I do audio and podcasting. It didn't even occur to me that there were podcasts in self-help. It's funny because if there's a subject, there's probably, you know, a bunch of podcasts on it. So it's funny I didn't even think about it. But Dr. Aziz's episode on dancing came up. I think I was thinking about, because dancing was kind of a big challenge for me. So his episode on dancing came up. And I was like, who is this guy? Who is this guy that's talking exactly about my struggles? So I listened to it and I was like, wow, this guy is really articulating what I'm feeling and what I've been through. This guy gets me. The more I immerse myself in his work, his podcast, I read one of his books, I said, okay, this guy is onto something. I want to know more about where he came from and what he can teach me about my own personal journey, how I can use his journey, his wisdom as a model for the journey that I want to take, which is to have a fulfilling social life, whether it be platonic and romantic. As much as I would like to feel like I'm a lone wolf, I definitely thrive in like an educational environment. And I felt like, yeah, I can listen to these podcasts, I can listen to the PDFs, but at least to start, I need that guidance, that strong hand to kind of help me step through that first door. And that's sort of what I was feeling when I was reading and listening to his material. This is all great, but I need the guidance to actually take it in, at least to begin. And that's why I'm here. In me, there's a voice, a story in my head that, people are going to want to meet me and they don't want to socialize with me. Who am I to reach out to this person or that person? And I get that feeling. And there was a point this is day one, so things have changed a lot. But day one, I was feeling that, I was hearing that same story. It's like, oh gosh, people around me, they're all partnered up, they're in a circle, and I'm here. And this story was so present in my mind, and I was really struggling with that day. And when I went back to where I was staying, on a whim, I looked up, I feel left out. I looked for that on YouTube. And guess what came up? Dr. Aziz's little snippet of wisdom on what to do when you feel left out. So I was like, wow, Dr. Aziz, you just cover all the bases. And, again, he gives you that wisdom. He can give you that gift, but it's up to you to receive it. So I did my best to be the recipient of his message, and I think it helped. Day 2 and 3 was much more positive. I was more social than I really could ever imagine myself being, and I met some wonderful people, and I hope to be connected to them in some way, down the line. Well, like I said, I met some really wonderful people, and I've got to say I've never been inspired by a group of people. We're all on similar journeys. I won't say the same, but we're all in this trajectory towards growing and enhancing your own personal story. I've definitely never felt that feeling of kinship in a single room, just dozens of people just seeing each other as they are today, but also seeing the potential that each other holds. So that was just totally a foreign experience for me, and it was just really wonderful. The first time I was exposed to Dr. Aziz's work was Anxiety About Dancing. That holds a very special story in my heart. Let's just put it that way. But you know what? I was just dancing and jumping to the music, and Jonathan, one of the coaches, and Dr. Aziz are just jumping up and down and having such a great time, and it was so infectious. And I have to tell you that raising my arm beyond shoulder level was challenging for me. This was like, beyond this was too much exposure. But I can't even believe it, but something got a hold of me, and my arm was held, sky high, and I was jumping and dancing and smiling, and I'll tell you, on top of that, one of the people I got to know here at the event, he said, hey, I found this salsa dancing event close in town, and it's happening tonight. Are you interested? Something about this event, a lot about this event, led me to be more open to things like that. I was willing to believe in what yes could open for me. And I said yes. And guess what? I went to this salsa dancing lesson. I've taken a few classes, but I'm very rusty, but that's okay. I was willing to honor the yes, honor the commitment, and I said, whatever happens, I'm gonna have a good time because I'm out in the world, I'm experiencing the world, I'm getting in contact with people that I would never get in contact with in my old self. One of my goals for being here is being exposed to more people out in the world. And guess what? I found somebody at the class, and I approached her and I said, hey, would you like to be my dance partner? And she said yes. That was such a big step for me because, the old story of, oh, who wants to dance with me? Little old me. But no, I said, being here taught me that I am a person, I am human, I am worthy of touch. You owe it to yourself to do this. You're going to have a wonderful time, and you're going to discover that you're not alone. You have the opportunity to be in a room full of people with kindred spirit. You're going to experience things and do things that you never thought possible. Or maybe it was something in the past that you can't regain. And that's just not true. As long as you're breathing and still alive, it's just never too late. And you should have done it yesterday. You'll have a great time.